All right, Sam, I turn it right over to you.
All right, fantastic. Thanks everyone so much for your time today and going over this demo for remote notarization. My name is Sam West. I'm the Senior Account Executive here at SIGNiX. Very excited to be partnering with New York Notary Alliance, PNS as well, on this partnership to offer you a remote online notarization platform. And I think, when we had conversations with Marcy and Sheila and the rest of her team about remote notarization, probably one of the most important things that came to mind was, are you good to go in New York? And apparently that wasn't as easy as we made it seem. So with New York, compliance standards, they probably have one of the most stringent requirements out there. So we worked with Marcy and their team, and while New York doesn't necessarily have a list of approved vendors, and we're approved in pretty much every state that allows for remote notarization. I mean, the typical process is we have to be certified with the Secretary of State and be an approved vendor in that state. But New York just says you have to meet these requirements. So that is what we do as a solution. Very excited to do a deep dive today on remote notarization in general. Obviously, SIGNiX and what our platform is. And then ultimately, I want to be able to answer as many questions as you have. With this still being new, there's a lot of use cases out there. Send those questions into the chat box, and we'll be sure to get to those over this next hour. So appreciate everybody's time. We'll obviously provide this recording to you as well. We also did a fireside chat on the Notaries in the Know page too, if you want to check that out. It's just kind of like a high level overview of remote notary. But my contact information is also included in here. Please feel free to reach out with any questions, and we'll be sure to answer those. A little bit about myself. I've been with SIGNiX for just over 4 years now. So during the start of the pandemic, I was the first intern in the company's history. And then now I'm full on senior account executive. So come a long way. I've worked with a lot of notaries on our platform as well. So I've got to learn from you, learn about this industry, and been doing this for a while. So hopefully we can provide some expert advice and also continue to learn something every single day with your knowledge as well. So look forward to that. Going over our agenda today, we'll talk about who is SIGNiX. We'll do what is remote online notarization. A lot of you might be familiar with this, but we'll give you a good rundown of that. Probably one of the most important things about SIGNiX is we are a digital signature platform, which is fundamentally different than a basic electronic signature, and is one of the fundamental reasons why we are one of the few New York compliant solutions. So we'll talk about that in deeper meaning. We'll also do a brief demo of the SIGNiX RON platform, so you'll be able to see it from both the notary's perspective as well as your clients. So we'll talk about that as well if you've never seen a demo of remote online notarization. And then I want to be able to answer as many questions as you have. This is really for you, really to educate you. So again, please put those questions in there over this next hour. I'm also getting over a little bit of an illness, so I hope I don't sound, horsey or sick or anything like that. But look forward to this. So who are we? SIGNiX is the oldest and first remote online notarization platform. So we've been in business for about 20 years with our digital signature product. So very similar to like a DocuSign or Adobe Sign or whatnot. We've been doing that forever. But even going back to when Virginia was the first state to pass a RON legislation back in 2013, we actually helped them write that law. So we've been doing this for longer than anyone. Not to bash or anything, but a lot of my competitors were born out of the pandemic in 2020. So a lot of them are still considered startups, and they've got about 1 to 5 employees that handle all of sales, marketing, and support. And one of the crucial things to do this is, making sure that you have a compliant vendor, but also the proper customer support and training that can support you too.
Hey,
During that,
Sam,
yes, of course.
how many states are you guys currently available in? Do you know offhand?
I'm going to show a state map here pretty
Oh,
soon,
great.
so I'll
Okay.
answer that question. Great question.
Thank you.
Mhm. And so we'll talk about and Marcy, there's other notaries not just in New York on this call. Is that correct, or
Yep,
is
we
it?
have notaries from everywhere on the call.
Oh, great, fantastic. So we won't just talk about New York then the whole time, but that sounds great. And then also we have the largest notary network. So out of all of the remote notary platforms, we've got about 3,500 notaries. The next closest may have about 2,000. So the most notaries, the oldest platform as well. And like I said, we've been doing this for 20 years, so we're a compliant solution built for highly regulated industries. We work in many different industries. You name it, you got a document that needs to be notarized and or signed. You could certainly do it on our platform. So we work with hundreds of title companies, 27 of the top 100 law firms, insurance, government, you name it. There's so many different people, and independent notaries certainly can, and signing agents can use our platform as well. We do it as a standalone product or white label integrations via robust API. And we also have 9 patents with 1 in development. And then remote online notarization. Probably the best way to explain what remote notarization is this is a 100% remote and electronic way of performing notarizations. So take out the rubber stamps, take out meeting with someone face to face. It's going to have a digital signature onto the document. So this is all, it is completely transforming the in-person standard notarial process to a 100% remote and electronic. Probably the 2 biggest elements of all of this technology that's involved here is the notary and the principal are remotely connected through audio video, just like we are right now. So you will meet with your client remotely on video, and then the authentication as well. New York and other states require what's called a 2-step verification process, which most commonly is the knowledge-based authentication with ID verification. And some states also allow a new form, which is biometrics with ID verification as well. So those are probably the top 2 elements when you get into remote notarization. And our software, it provides you with all of the technology that you need. And that's important too, because some vendors, it's well, you need to go get a digital certificate over here, and you need to go get your digital stamp over here. Having a solution that provides you with everything is going to save you a lot of time and money in the long term. So that's super important. Just having one platform that meets all the guidelines, provides you with everything that you need. One of the 2 benefits here to remote notarization is you can perform notarizations out of state. And this is really a huge driver in this as well, because if I'm a notary in the state of New York, or really any other state that allows me to do remote notarization, as long as I am in the state that I'm commissioned in during the time of the RON, my signer can be located anywhere. So it does allow you to be able to market and expand your business, not just within your own backyard. So that is a huge driver as well. Like, especially like a lot of law firms, like if they have multiple offices and I've got, a group of notaries in New York, I can essentially service the needs of the entire firm. Or let's take international, for example, right? Like if someone's traveling, or if, someone is abroad, all they got to do is hop on video and I can still do their notarization. So as notaries, we need to be able to market ourselves and adapt to the new wave, because Ron is still brand new. not a lot of people still know about it. I mean, COVID, was the main driver of this in 2020. But I mean, you fast forward 4 years later, I mean, things are pretty much opened all up. The vaccine's readily available. So what's the thing that's really driving it? And the answer that I always give is people love it. Right? People are always going to want to do things in a much more fast, efficient, contact-free way. And so, that's really the benefit of remote notarization. And you, for your notary business, need to be the ones to market that accordingly. And so that is, really the main driver for remote notarization. It's not if it's coming, it's not, when it's coming, it is here. So, it's just a matter of time when you hop on board. And it's a generally accepted process, right? Like, I mean, like I said, COVID kind of ignited this, but I mean, title companies are coming on board. New York was a late adopter, but they came on eventually. California is working on a permanent legislation, and they told us 4 years ago, no way, Jose, we're not doing it. And so, all of these states are eventually lining up. And banks, we just launched a major partnership with TrueStage, who has over 5,000 banks and credit unions nationwide. So you're going to continue to see the adoption of this only continue to grow. Remote closings in titles, title and real estate as well, is becoming a huge popular thing. So it's only going to continue to grow. And this is really, what is remote notarization. We had a question as well about our current supported states. So SIGNiX is available in any state that allows for remote notarization. So every state that you see here in green, we are good to go in. We are either an approved vendor or meet the compliance standard in those states. You do have 4 states in red: California, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. Unfortunately, I cannot provide you remote notarization in those states. But here's the interesting part is if I'm a notary in the state of Virginia, I can notarize for a California or North Carolina resident. So even if my state, doesn't allow for Ron, for me as a notary or as a signer, I can still, notarize for them. So again, that interstate recognition as well. As long as I'm in the state that I'm good to go in, my signer can be located anywhere. You do see 5 states here that are in blue. Those are remote ink notarization states. That's a very different process than a remote online notary or a RON. Basically, you and I hop on video. I hand sign those documents to you. I overnight them to you. You hand sign them. You overnight them back to me while we're both on camera. So that's about a minimum of a 2-day process, where remote notarization is done in about 15 minutes. So we don't support that here at SIGNiX with remote ink. So if you're in a blue state, wouldn't recommend that at this time. But at least they're adopting some sort of legislation there. So only 9 states that you can't do. So 41 states, good to go in.
So Sam, just to clarify real quick, I mean, Ron is passed in California, but obviously they've got a few years to go before they're there. And I think Mass just passed a Ron bill. Am I wrong in saying that? But they're not up and running. In the states that you're not available yet, I guess I want to clarify that. When they are available to do Ron, will you guys be looking to get approved in those states as well?
Yes, and we have a state rep that keeps track of like the state laws and what the approval is for it. California is a tricky one because like with them, like passing Ron, okay, it's done. It's not that simple.
Oh, they've got years to go
Yeah,
still. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the way they wrote the law. It's definitely going to take them quite some time. Mass would be a new one to me. So I'll have to take a look at that. But yeah, I mean, Illinois recently just went live in January, so we were on the ball there and got approval there pretty quickly. So yeah, it just depends on the state, and as you can imagine, every single state is different. So either we're an approved vendor there or there's some more, work to be done. But as of right now, only 4 states do not have RON, in some way, shape, or form. So
Great, thank you.
yeah, great questions. Any other questions from the chat?
Nope, not yet. I think that, yeah, remote online was just, someone put a link about Massachusetts, but I'll forward that to you offline so you can check with your team.
Okay,
In the background.
sounds great.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and what I want to talk about is as well, and I kind of mentioned this earlier too, is why are digital signatures better? And I think the best way for me to explain this is to kind of walk you through the different forms of signature, hear what the experts have to say, and let you determine which you think is better. So, Forrester research says that using digital signatures to e-sign documents provides the highest level of integrity and non-repudiation over time. So, let's take a look at a traditional signature. You got your piece of paper and your pen. We've all done it. It's trusted, it's legally binding, but it's 2024 and it is inefficient and costly, not too great for the environment as well. So there's got to be a better way. So let's insert a typical e-signature. And if you notice, you only have actually one layer of validity, which is that tamper-proof seal on the download. So you got your PDF, you got some sort of electronic signature, and then only one layer of validity. Take a look at the pros and cons. It's affordable. It's a lot more user-friendly and faster and efficient than the traditional way. It's legally binding. It's easy to integrate, but it's going to rely on a third party for that legal evidence. How do we actually prove that that person's signature is them? How do we prove that? It's going to require a copy of the document and only has that one single layer of validity, which is that tamper-proof seal on the download. Let's take it one step further and insert a PKI or public key infrastructure digital signature. And if you notice, you've got about 6 other layers of validity embedded into the signature itself. So while you do have the PDF and a signature image, you've also got a lot more than that. So you've got, the browser information. You can see what web browser they used. You've got a digital certificate, which verifies the authenticity of that signature, to that person. You got a tamper-proof seal, and then you also got a third-party timestamp. So once they click to sign, that timestamp is embedded into the document. And this is true for every single signature act. So whether you've got, one signature or 1,000 signatures, you're going to get this layer of legal evidence for every signature. Let's take a look at the pros and cons. You got military grade cryptography for the highest level of authenticity when signing documents online. You've got multiple layers of legal evidence. You have legal evidence for multiple signatures. And it's also independently available and verifiable, which means that you own the documents and we don't retain a copy of your personal information. But it's very complex. It's traditionally difficult to integrate, and it's also very expensive. But let's insert SIGNiX into the equation here. With SIGNiX, we combine the benefits and ease of use of electronic signatures with the security of digital signatures to make a fast, affordable, and secure solution for notaries in New York Alliance. We made digital signatures easy and cost effective. But don't take my word for it. Timothy Reiner of the American Bar Association says the SIGNiX platform establishes a trustworthy process for binding the identity of an individual to a digital signature. This is crucially important. And our business is your business. We offer a personalized service with our highest rated customer support team in the industry. So we give you both phone and email US-based customer support, which is critical in this industry. We offer 20 years of experience in digital signatures and API, which is unparalleled in the market. We've got the digital certificate included, which usually goes for about $100 to $150, depending on where you get it from. But we actually give it to you for free. as well as we do free live training sessions every single day, so you all can have the most immediate support available. So you actually have someone to train you on how to use the platform. All right, so that should provide you with a good idea of, who we are, what it is we do, obviously how we're a little bit different. Let's go ahead and get into our demo. And before we do the actual demo, I'm gonna show you one thing that's actually really, really cool here. Is I am going to show you, we just talked about like the difference between digital signatures and a basic electronic signature, but let's unpack this a little bit more and actually see how it looks on a completed document. So I've got this document that was signed through SIGNiX, and can you all see this? I'm sharing my screen, correct?
Oh, hold on.
Can you
Yes,
see
I can
this?
see you.
Okay, you can see this document. Okay, I was just making sure with the presentation. So the first thing you'll notice here is this blue tamper-proof seal. So this shows that all signatures are signed and valid. Nothing was altered with or changed throughout this transaction. And there's my stamp and my signatures. Now, what's unique with SIGNiX is if I actually go over to the signatures themselves, notice how my arrow icon changes from an arrow to a clickable icon. And all of these signatures are clickable. And I can actually view the signature properties within each and every signature act. So I can view, the date and time they actually signed that document. I can see what web browser they use. I can see the IP address where they were located. And if I go a little bit further, I can see that signer's digital certificate. Now, this is a Global Sign X509 digital certificate that verifies the authenticity of that signer to their signature. So if anybody ever said, hey, that's not my signature, or I don't remember signing that, this is your legal evidence and proof if these documents were to ever get challenged in a court of law. This right here is required for any notarial transaction done online. Like I said, it usually goes for about $100 to $150, but we actually give it to you for free because it's embedded into the signatures themselves. And if you do purchase it elsewhere, it's going to be pretty costly, but you also have to download it onto your system. You also have to update it after the signature as well. So this right here, when somebody says, hey, are you compliant in New York or whatever, I'm showing it to you as to why we are. New York requires that you must obtain the digital certificate from the provider. And I'm the only one that does it like this. So in New York in particular, this is very, very important. This is going to depend on state laws. Well, you might say, well, my state's a little bit different or whatever. And that might be true. But this is still very, very important to, have this legal evidence a couple clicks away. So just for a contrasting comparison, I will show you on how it looks on a typical e-signature. And I'm just going to use the 1,000-pound gorilla in this industry, which is DocuSign. And I'll show you this signature document. Now, you do get a blue tamper-proof seal, which is not applied until final downloads. That's why you're actually seeing at least one signature requires validating. I've got 4 signatures here, 1 initial. Now, what's unique about this too is Adobe even recognizes these as images that are pasted onto the document. There's no other real legal evidence here tying this signature to me. And if Adobe actually even recognizes it as an image, so I can actually edit this signature and do a couple of things with it as well. Like I can, do a text box, whatever. Like, that's scary. And then I've also, if I go over to the signature panel, I got 4 signatures here, 1 initial. Well, I only got 1 signature that's validated. Well, hang on a sec. I got 5 signatures. Where's the other 4? I've also got this initial here. I got John JS. I got John Signer, Jill Signer. Who was that? I don't know. And it also lets me know that the signing time is from the clock on the signer's computer. Well, how easy is that to change after it's already been signed? So, I mean, obviously, don't want to bash or anything like that because, I mean, they're they're a billion-dollar company. But at the end of the day, it's just different technology. With SIGNiX, you're going to get the validity for every single signature on the document, whether you've got one signature or 1,000 signatures. You got the validity already given to you for every signature act. And it also includes an embedded timestamp. So from the moment you click to sign, that timestamp is automatically embedded in there. And this is really the SIGNiX difference between a digital signature and a basic electronic signature. I talk with a lot of companies, a lot of big multi-million, billion-dollar companies, and a lot of them don't know what I've just shared with you today. So you will not see this on any other remote notarization platform out there. Any
I
questions?
just want to confirm, yep, we have one question about, someone said they have a digital certificate from IdenTrust. Can they use it with SIGNiX? And I just want to clarify, you provide the digital certificate, but if they do any sort of loan signing work with Fidelity, they are required to use the IdenTrust certificate on your platform. Am I correct in saying that? So you would need that additional cert for Fidelity only as the underwriter in loan signings.
That's a good catch, whoever that was. Yes, you are correct. And while we do give it to you for free, you can upload that IdenTrust digital certificate on our platform. So, yes, and that also goes back on our end. Like Fidelity has probably the most stringent security requirements we've ever seen. And when we showed them this as well, they didn't understand it. So, because they're used to the process. They're used to the individual certificates. So yes, Fidelity does have that requirement, and if that is a requirement with any other title company, which I don't believe it is, you can still do that as well. So you can use an individual certificate.
Yeah, I think
Great.
it's only Fidelity, to be honest with you. So, well, for you guys, there is a Fidelity, just so that everyone's clear. Loan signings are different than general notary work, so I'm going to put that out here. Typically, title insurance underwriters have approved platform lists. So if you were to do a loan signing, they would let you know what platform you would need to use in order to be compliant with their regulations. That's a complete aside to this conversation. And as far as I know, SIGNiX is on every single title insurance underwriters platform approved list that has a list. So that wouldn't be a problem here. All right,
Yes.
Sam, I said my piece. Feel free to take back over.
No, that's great, Marcy. Thanks for clarifying that as well. So let's get into our demo so everybody can see how the platform works. We're at about 12:30 right now. I'm sure we'll have some more questions after we get this. Marcy, were there any other questions about the digital signature, the critical difference there?
Nope, you're doing great.
All right, fantastic. So this is what it's going to look like when you log into SIGNiX. While being cloud-based, there's no hardware to buy or maintain, nothing to download or install. So as long as you've got access to some sort of device, you can notarize documents using SIGNiX. This is your document dashboard. So here you can view the status of transactions. You could filter it out by its last activity date. You could also view recently updated transactions, track their transaction status, as well as download or view all of them in the transaction screen. You also do have the eNotary profile, which is basically like the Notary's Hub. Here you can view and access your commission information. You can import a IdenTrust certificate, as well as you can update that information as well. If you're not familiar with the digital stamp, that's basically taking a picture of your wet stamp and putting that into a digital image. So that's where you would put it on the platform. And then you've also got the notary journal entries, as well as the remote online notary recordings, which are stored here on the platform. We'll talk about those at the end. But for today's purpose, and really any other purpose as well, when I want to initiate a transaction, is I'll just simply click on that button, create a new transaction. As soon as I do that, the first thing it's going to ask me to do is enter in my first signer's information. So I'll go ahead and enter in the first and last name of my signer, as well as an appropriate email address. Now, most importantly, when it comes to a remote online notary, is what kind of authentication method they will be using. Now, typically for a RON, that is almost always going to be a two-step verification process. Two-step meaning two actions, and need to verify some sort of ID as well as part of that second. Most commonly is going to be the knowledge-based authentication with ID verification. My signer will have to go in. They will have to answer a series of questions based off their social security number, as well as upload a photograph of the ID of their choosing. That's the most common amongst the states. Some states today, you'll need to check with your state law, do allow for biometrics with ID verification. So biometric, that meaning a facial recognition scan, seems to be kind of the wave of the future. I can also provide some clarity on that if your state law does not allow for face biometrics. When we wrote the first law with Virginia, the standard at the time was KBA. And so all the states just kind of went off of that and adopted KBA as the standard. You fast forward, 10 years later, and when everything's kind of opened back up and people are starting to use RON, nobody really likes putting their social security number into anything. And then for your international clients, well, they can't do it because it's based off of a social security number. So in comes biometrics, where it is replacing the social security number with a facial recognition as well as that ID. So I think New York and Florida, I know are good to go in. Other states you'll need to check with that, but you can also do that on our platform, and I will show that in this demo. But for the purpose of the demo, I will stick with KBA. If you have personal knowledge of the person you're notarizing, and I'll leave that up to you all for what personal knowledge is. But for personal knowledge, you can actually bypass both these authentication methods and just choose our email only option, and they would go straight to signing their documents. In this example today, we're going to keep it very, very simple. And I'm just going to do a one signer and also add ourselves as the notary. The signer will be going through knowledge-based authentication. As the notary, we're not authenticating ourselves. So we'll also show the email only and biometrics. So we'll get to show all three if you have any questions there.
Sam, can I ask a quick question about identification? So
Of course.
I assume that it's government issued, like a driver's license, passport, state ID. Do you guys allow for foreign identification, such as a passport from Spain or Venezuela?
We absolutely do. We are international capable.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I will show that in the demo as well. All right, so we've added our first signer in here. Now we need to add ourselves in as the notary, or if there's any other, witness, spouse, whatever, you can add as many signers as necessary. Again, in this example, I'm just doing a one signer and our notary. So I'll go through here and add myself to this transaction. As we said, the notary, we're not authenticating ourselves. We already have an account within SIGNiX, so we can simply just click I am the signer. That'll populate first, last name, email, and then the notary, and that will pull all of the information from the eNotary profile into my signature. So I will just click add signer there, and now we've got our participants. And it lets you know the roles, signer and notary, and then we will head over to the documents tab. And this is where we're going to upload the documents that we need to be able to notarize. So same thing as before, you can with the signers, you can upload as many documents as necessary in here. So whatever documents, need to be notarized, just go through here, select that sample document, and then we'll head over to the signatures tab. And this is where we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to actually tag these documents to be able to send out for signature. So I've got our first signer selected here, which is Gina. And we need to collect a little bit of information, who's signing, where are they signing, what are they signing? So We refer to this process as tagging. With us, it's a very easy drag and drop. All of these fields can be made as big as you want, small as you want, fit to text. Obviously, this isn't their final signature, date, or whatever. They'll actually have to do that when we hop on Zoom. But we need to identify placeholders for where they need to make an action on this document. So I'll just go through this pretty quickly. Whatever needs to be done, signature, initial, text field, checkbox. A lot of this is going to be automatically pre-populated for the notary. We're just doing the signature and the date. And then I'm also going to put my notary stamp onto the document. And then once I click to sign, that notary stamp will automatically be embedded into the document as well. So just to recap, we've added our signer's information. We've uploaded the documents need to be notarized. We now tag these documents. It's now time to go ahead and send these out. So I'll go over to the send tab here. And demonstration mode allows for unlimited test transactions. So you're actually able to go into our platform, test the system out before you do it with a real client. We got great training, great support, but to me, that is the most beneficial thing, is I need to get in here, I need to actually do it. So the fact that you can do that unlimitedly without being charged for it, I think is a great way to be able to test the system out. It's also going to let you know how many notary stamps are included. So if I have a large file, forgot to add one, need to go back, certainly do that as well. And then as soon as I click send, that's going to initiate this transaction. I will meet with my client remotely and go through this process. So we'll go ahead and click send. And the first thing it's going to ask me to do is schedule my audio video meeting. Now, we are integrated with Zoom. Zoom is something that we provide to you for free. You don't have to use Zoom, but there are a ton of advantages to doing so. Number one is it's going to automatically default to record, and we will store that for you for the life of the account in accordance with the state laws. So that's going to save you a ton of money in the long term. Plus, it's integrated. So we handle all of the scheduling. You can launch that meeting now. You could schedule it for a later time. Or if you wanted to use your own audio video platform, you can certainly do that as well. So for the scheduling, we will just schedule this for some time in the future that we've agreed to meet with my client. And what that's going to do is that's going to send them an email invite to hop on Zoom. So really all they need to do is hop on the Zoom meeting, and then everything else is done through SIGNiX. So that's kind of the first and really only step for them is to hop on Zoom. So you can see on the status screen that this transaction is now in process. So they'll need to go to their email and click on the link to join that Zoom. So Waverly is going to be playing the role of the notary, and Gina is going to be playing the role of our signer. So obviously they would meet on audio video. They do talk for a little bit, so I'm gonna skip over this, having those preliminary notary conversations. And then once they are ready to begin, Waverly will instruct Gina to open that email link and go through the process through SIGNiX. So a second email gets sent to them. Your documents are ready to review. Click on that link and go through knowledge-based authentication. So first thing they'll need to do is enter in the expiration date of the ID of their choosing. That must be a government-issued ID, driver's license, passport, state ID, permanent resident card. There's a whole list that you can do. So make sure that that's a date in the future, and it's going to give them a warning sign to not proceed without their notary's permission. This is the second warning sign, first time on the client side, that just make sure, hey, you're with your notary to go through this process. They'll agree to legal consent due to the e-Sign Act law, and then they will enter in the last 4 digits of their social security number, as well as their date of birth. And then what that's going to do is that's going to fire off a series of knowledge-based authentication questions that only Gina would know the answer to. So these are questions such as, which of the following corporations have I worked at? Which of these addresses have I lived at? You know, different questions like that that only they're going to know the answer to in order to pass that authentication. Couple of things here. These questions, and another downside to KBA as well, is these questions are generated on over 30 years of public database information. So yes, someone from their 60s could get questions from when they were 30. Someone like me who's 26 and just bought his first house, just got married, is going to have way less questions than someone older than me. You do keep that in mind. I mean, we don't have any control over what questions are pulled, but it is public data. They got to get 4 out of 5 correct, and then depending on what state you're in, they get 2 or 3 attempts in order to pass. If they cannot pass within those attempts, they'll be locked out of the system for 24 hours, and that's just to prevent, you know, someone trying to commit fraud, what those states require. And then comes the second part of this 2-step verification process, where is the ID verification. So they will begin verifying here. And we are international capable, select that. Got a lot of list of IDs that you can choose from here. Driver's license, state ID, passport card, permanent resident card, so Visa, all of those are acceptable. The only one that you won't see on here is a military ID. And the reason being is it's actually illegal to photograph a military ID. So that's the only one that you won't see on here. They could just take a picture of it right here from the platform. It holds their ID up to the screen. They can upload a photo that they've already taken, or they can continue on another device. And that's going to send them a text link to their mobile phone, and they'll just take a picture of it on their phone. They'll just hold it up to the camera. This ID is going to be blurred for privacy just because it is a video, so I apologize, everybody. But they'll hold the ID up to the screen. And then what SIGNiX will do is we will scan that ID to ensure that it is a real ID as well as it's not expired. Versus the traditional method of going, yep, that looks like you, Marcy. This actually goes through a very credential scan to verify that ID is real and not expired. And then they've passed authentication. They can create a password as well as their signature. So you can use a default signature initial. You can choose a custom signature font. You can actually also draw out your own signature. And you can also upload a photograph of your wet signature as well. So all of those are available. And then we'll click Let's Go and sign our documents. So if I click review, I'll just scroll through the platform. This is going to happen quick because it's just only one signature. But if I click go, it's just a very easy click to sign process here. We'll just go through here, click to sign. And just like that, I'm now done. So that's everything that Gina needed to do on this transaction. It now notifies the next party, in this case, the notary, that it's their turn to be able to sign. So they can go ahead and close on out of this. And as the notary, we're not authenticating ourselves. So this is what it would look like if we had chosen the email only option. All Waverly needs to do as the notary is she'll get that same email. She'll agree to legal consent, enter in a password, and then she will either pass or fail the ID that was uploaded and match it with the person that's on camera. So while SIGNiX is verified, this is a real ID, it's not expired, it's still on the notary to match that ID with the person that's on camera. So if I'm a male and I upload a female ID, that's on you. So just one of those things. If I'm going to commit fraud, I probably don't want to be doing that on video, but that's just one of those things. So we'll pass that person there. Same things before, review, click go, click to sign. That notary stamp will automatically be embedded. And then I'm going to enter in the information that's going to be recorded in the e-notary journal. So this is information such as the venue, fee assessed if there were any, notary act type, and then where is my signer located. The only thing I'm not going to be able to change is the ID method. because they already went through this process. You can also put any notes relative in here. And then how is this being performed? Is it remote or in person? System recognized they're on Zoom, so it's remote. And we are having severe storms here in Tampa, so I don't know if anybody could hear that, but that was pretty loud. And then just like that, we're now done. So this is a completed transaction. My client will receive their documents sent to their email. If they log back into SIGNiX as well, you can see that the status is complete, and you can also download those documents as applicable too. So that is a remote notarization demo on the SIGNiX platform. I also want to show you how biometrics works if you are in a biometric state, because this is really cool technology. I'm just going to fast forward over here. And if you haven't seen this before, it might be coming to your state. So all they'll need to do is put in the expiration date of their ID, agree to legal consent, and then off they go. So instead of doing social security number, all they need to do is upload that ID. So what country, as you do see, international capable. And then I'll also select that and then choose from my list of IDs. And then same thing as before, take a picture of it, upload photo, continue on another device. This is all still the same. So she's going to continue on another device for that one. Use that file. And then comes, instead of KBA, I will do the facial recognition. So all they need to do is look to the left, look to the right, and their ID is verified. So no questions, no social security number. This is going to be your wave of the future here, people. So that is biometrics with ID verify. So that's another form of authentication that you can do on the SIGNiX system if your state allows for it. All right, we just got a couple more minutes here that really does conclude our demo for today. I'm sure everybody has a question that they want to know, which how much does all of this cost? So the way our pricing structure works, and you can go onto our website, just go to signix.com, and you can also go to the link that's on the Notary Alliance page as well as on PNS. And you can look through that. We're offering a 10% discount for anyone that is a member, so you can take advantage of that on the annual fee. So that's a really good promotion that we're having. And I'll also be sure to make sure that everyone is aware of that link. But really appreciate everyone's time for today. In these last less than 10 minutes, I would love to answer any other questions that you have. And also I'll put my contact information back up on the screen too, so everybody has it.
Thanks, Sam. I'm going to drop in the link, the discount link for drop in the chat, the discount link. My typing and my speech today is not so great. I must not have had enough coffee today. I'm so sorry. I'm going to drop the link for the discount in the chat. It's open to everyone, whether you're a member or not. We wanted to run this so that you, didn't matter what state you were in, or if you were a member or not, that you could start up your RON business. We realized there's an expense to that, depending on what state you're in. Difficult to be profitable, depending on your business model. So we did that. I want to clarify a couple things, Sam, if you wouldn't mind. In terms of the electronic journal and the recordings, I want to make sure I'm clear. You will store those on our behalf for whatever our state requires. So in New York, I have to hold it for 10 years. Are you saying that you're going to hold the recordings and the electronic journal for 10 years for us? Or do we need to take those and put them someplace else?
So we store it for the life of the account. So for however long you're using us, that is the storage. In the event that you leave us, you have to download that and store it for the state required years.
Okay, perfect. So I want to make sure everyone's clear on that. If you stay with SIGNiX for 10 years, they'll hold all of your recordings for you. If you leave the platform, you must take all of that information with you.
Yes.
Now, I do have a question regarding that. Some states require that wherever those recordings or journal are stored, that there's a feasible backup to that as well. I would assume, because your technology platform, that you guys have backup upon backup.
We
So that way
we
the information is there.
we do, and states like Florida in particular, they require us to serve as the repository. So we do have to store it longer outside of the account, and so that's provided on the back end too. But
Great.
even if you like leave us for in Florida, it's still always a good idea to download it yourself too. And anything that you know do on the platform is always downloadable, but we do store it for the life of the account.
Okay, let's talk about customer support and customer service, because I want to say when I launched this initiative here, which thank you again for doing so, the number one comment I got was excellent customer service. Like, we love their customer support. And even when we talked, I said to you, it is not common. There are a couple other platforms to do it, but it's not common to have phone support. Like, and I am the person who, I'll say this, I hate talking on the phone. I would rather you email or text me. But when it comes to support of any kind, or I need an answer right away, I love to just pick up the phone and do that. And so tell me a little bit about your support, how that's handled, what the hours are.
So that's a great question. So I'm proud to say that we have the highest rated customer support team in the industry. And I don't care what software you are purchasing, you are going to have questions. You are going to want to be able to reach out to someone. So, you know, that's why we pride ourselves on that. We do US based phone and email customer support. So you have a real person to return and answer your phone calls. You know, if you're stuck on a call, that's the last thing that you want to, you know, be doing. Every notary that actually gets onboarded onto the SIGNiX platform, you'll have your very own client success manager. And what that person's going to do, in addition to myself as the account manager, they'll be responsible for all the training, onboarding, making sure that we can tailor your experience to get you set up, which is very uncommon in this industry. And then we also do a 3-step training plan. So 3 steps meaning, like, number one, we have an onboarding or kickoff call. That's kind of setting the expectations of the account, like, you know, what your expectation is for using it. The second is like a full on training. And then the third one is it's time for you to show us what you've learned. So we actually go through a demo transaction with you, make sure you're ready to do your first real remote notary transaction. So confidently, I can say, regardless if you go with me or not, it is crucial to have a platform that's going to be committed to your success. And I think, you know, the feedback from the customers and the ratings as well is very, very positive. But you know, that's one thing that we'll guarantee you. So yeah, you can look on our website and, you know, your Facebook groups and everything, and talk about our support. But you know, you have the guarantee here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I want a couple questions with two in here. They're asking about how do they download it, but I assume that they can just download right from that dashboard, right? It's just
Oh yeah,
download.
from their
Super
portal.
easy like any other place.
Correct. I'm getting a tornado warning here on my phone.
Oh my gosh, if you need to go because of the tornado, we totally would understand that.
Oh, I'm okay.
We
I
want you to
hope.
be safe. We
Yeah,
want you to be safe.
if you see me log off, I'm running to take cover, but no
Okay.
worries. We're having some really bad storms here. So if you go into the SIGNiX dashboard, everything that you do is always downloadable. So on the transaction screen, you'll have like a list of your recently completed transactions, but you can also go to the transaction screen and look at all of your transactions. You could filter them by completed and process, etc. You could search for a specific transaction by name, and then you can click on these individually and download them, or you can select a lot and download or print the documents as well. So,
Okay. So in terms of the next question is in terms of payment. So obviously we pay you, but is there, if I bring my clients, do they have is there an option where they pay the platform and then you pay me, or is it always done outside of the platform?
So you will be charging your clients directly. They will be paying you directly.
Okay, so off, off, off platform, they take care of all of that payments.
They do, yeah. SIGNiX does not compete or interfere with your business whatsoever. We will be charging you, the notary, who's using our platform in accordance with the pricing structure, but you set your own fees, you charge your clients directly. Absolutely.
And then do you guys have an open call system where you have like a job board and people, just
We do.
random customers? How does that work for the notaries?
We do. So we do it in two ways. So we're working on rolling out our notary service where we would have like 1099 independent contractors. That's still kind of down the road a little bit, so we're still working on that. We work with hundreds of title companies, like I said, a lot of large companies, so we can certainly add you to our network once you get signed on. But the business is still going to be flowing through like the title companies and, you know, government and law firms like legal, wherever we get that if they want notaries too. So the good thing is that it's not like we hire you to do a job and we pay you $5 for it. It's you set your price, you charge them directly. So that's more on our network. The third option, if you don't want to pay for like a platform fee or whatnot, we recently just partnered with a company that handles remote depositions. So this is very, very different than like the traditional RON where it requires like a stamp and a you know, a signature and whatnot. This is simply just administering oaths. It pays $7.50 per oath, but the work is pretty good. It only takes about like 10 minutes for actual oaths. So if you have, you know, 3 jobs a day, you're basically taking 30 minutes for $25. So that's another service that we're rolling out. That will only be available in New York, Florida, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania as of right now. So if you're a notary interested in that line of work, you can reach out to me too. And then of course is the software where you bring your own clients and you know, charge them whatever. So all
Right.
of that is available here.
I have one more question, and then I think we're pretty much wrapped up. They want you to go back over the pricing structure just one more time, make sure they have clarity on that, if that would be okay.
I don't think I did go over it, so this would be the first time. But yes, if you go to SIGNiX.com, go to pricing, go to remote online notarization pricing, here's what you'll be able to see. Now, if you click on the landing page, you're going to get a 10% discount. So make sure that you get that from Marcy. So you can either do a 3-year agreement or a 1-year agreement. So it's an annual fee of $299 for the year with a 10% discount. It'd be $269. So you pay that up front. That provides you with everything that you need, all the digital certificate, journal, video meetings, authentication, phone support, all of that. And then the transactions are billed in monthly arrears. So transactions start at $10 each.
So I want to make sure for if they sign up for the 3-year to get that discount, they don't pay all 3 years up front, correct? They pay $299, $299, and $299. So if you're worried
Yes,
out there about that big lump sum, that's not what happens here. You get billed annually, correct?
that is correct. It is billed annually. Yeah.
Okay.
So the 3-year agreement, you just get like long-term storage guarantee. You get a better rate. Plus, our pricing structure is not going to increase or change over time. So by doing the 3-year, it's kind of set at that price. It's not going to increase or change. And then if you go beyond the 3 years, you just renew at that same rate. But if you don't want that long term of commitment, we do offer a 1-year agreement. But for those reasons, it's $150 more. So.
And then it's $10 per the first seal, and then $5 per seal thereafter, correct?
You got it.
It doesn't matter how many occur in that month.
That's correct.
Okay, it's unlimited. Did it answer everyone's question out there? Was there clarity in that?
And if you have any other questions as well, just feel free to reach out, send me an email, give me a call. I'll make sure to be responsive to your needs. But everyone, thank you so much for your time today. Got a lot of questions, and look forward to serving your needs in the future as well.
Thank you, Sam, so much for coming. And thank you, everyone out there. I always like to say, I so appreciate your taking time out of your busy schedule to further educate yourselves, right? There's nothing greater than education and helping to empower notaries on their success journey. So thank you all for coming, taking time out. We obviously are recording this. We'll post it on the site. You'll get a link tomorrow showing that. Sam, again, thank you so much for coming. We're super excited about this partnership. Everyone out there, take advantage. If you're looking for a RON platform, we absolutely love this relationship they're building, and we hope that you do too.
My
Happy
pleasure.
Thursday.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great weekend.
Take care. Thanks, Marcy. Bye-bye.